The Farmer and the Golden Egg. One crisp morning, as the sun broke over the rolling hills, Farmer Ben set out to inspect his fields. It was a day like any other, or so he thought. As he strolled through his wheat field, his boot struck something hard. He stopped and knelt down, brushing away the soil to reveal a massive, shimmering golden egg. The egg was unlike anything he'd ever seen, glimmering in the sunlight and radiating a warmth that made him feel strangely calm. "What on earth is this?" Ben muttered, carefully lifting the surprisingly light egg and taking it back to his barn. 4 days, Ben couldn't take his eyes off the egg. He debated selling it, thinking of the fortune it might bring, but something inside him told him to wait. Late one night, as he dozed off in the barn, a loud crack jolted him awake. The golden egg was hatching. Before his eyes, the shell split apart, revealing a tiny, golden-feathered creature. It looked like a bird, a phoenix, perhaps, but its feathers shimmered with an otherworldly glow. Its eyes, intelligent and curious, locked onto Ben's, and in that moment, an unspoken bond was formed. Ben named the creature Aurea. As days turned into weeks, Aurea grew rapidly, her golden feathers brightening the barn with a soft light. But she wasn't just beautiful, she was magical. Wherever she walked, crops flourished. Wilted plants came back to life, and the barren patches of Ben's fields transformed into lush, vibrant greenery. Word of the miraculous golden bird spread quickly. Neighbors came to see the creature, offering money, favors, and even threats to take Aurea for themselves. But Ben stood firm, determined to protect the being that had changed his life. One stormy night, a group of thieves crept into the barn, intent on stealing Aurea. But as they approached, she spread her massive wings, now fully grown, and let out a powerful cry. A golden shockwave burst forth, driving the thieves away and leaving the barn untouched. From that day on, Ben realized Aurea wasn't just a gift, she was a protector. Together, they brought prosperity to the village. Aurea's presence turned the once struggling community into a thriving haven, where no one went hungry and hope bloomed as abundantly as the crops. Years later, when Aurea finally spread her wings and soared into the sky, disappearing into the golden clouds, Ben wasn't sad. He knew she had a greater purpose. And though she was gone, her magic lingered, ensuring the land would flourish for generations to come. Ben often looked to the skies, hoping for a glimpse of his golden companion. But even without her, he knew his life and the lives of everyone around him had been changed forever. Years had passed since Aurea flew into the golden clouds. The once small village had grown into a prosperous town, and Farmer Ben, now older but still spry, became something of a legend. People came from far and wide to hear the story of the golden bird, though Ben always spoke of her humbly. One misty morning, as Ben tended to his now vast and thriving fields, he felt a strange sensation in the air, something he hadn't felt in years. The ground beneath him hummed faintly, and a soft, golden light flickered on the horizon. Curious, Ben followed the light to the edge of his fields, where the forest began. There, nestled in a small clearing, was another egg, not golden this time, but a shimmering opal with streaks of blue and silver running through it. It pulsed faintly, as if alive. "What in the world?" Ben murmured, kneeling beside the egg. Though different, it reminded him of Aurea, and his heart raced. As he touched the egg, a vision flashed in his mind, a vast, radiant valley where creatures like Aurea soared through the skies. But it wasn't just a vision. A voice, soft and melodic, echoed in his mind. "She has sent you a gift, but the journey ahead will not be easy. Protect the egg, for the future depends on it." Before Ben could process the message, the light faded, leaving him alone with the mysterious egg. From that day, life grew unpredictable. The egg seemed to attract strange occurrences, storms appeared without warning, animals in the forest grew restless, and shadows moved where they shouldn't. At night, Ben sometimes heard faint whispers, as if the egg itself was speaking in a language he couldn't understand. Meanwhile, news of the new egg spread. Greedy merchants and treasure hunters began arriving, demanding to see it. Some offered riches, while others threatened to take it by force. Ben, now joined by his grown son Samuel, vowed to protect the egg, just as he had protected Aurea. But the whispers grew louder. One night, as Ben and Samuel sat by the fire, the egg began to glow intensely, filling the entire house with light. From within the egg came a faint heartbeat, followed by the sound of wings fluttering. "What's happening?" Samuel asked, wide-eyed. Before Ben could answer, the roof of their home seemed to dissolve, revealing a starry sky. A figure descended, a massive golden bird, even more majestic than Aurea had been. It was her, older, wiser, and glowing brighter than ever. "Aurea," Ben gasped. The phoenix spoke, her voice resonating like a song. "Ben, you have done well. But this is only the beginning. The forces that seek to harm this egg are powerful. You and Samuel must journey beyond the mountains to deliver it to the Valley of Light, where its true destiny will unfold." Ben and Samuel exchanged a glance, knowing their quiet lives were about to change forever. With Aurea's guidance, they prepared for the journey, unaware of the dangers and wonders that awaited them beyond the horizon. As they set out at dawn, the egg nestled safely in a golden satchel. Ben couldn't help but feel that his life's greatest adventure had only just begun. Ben and Samuel's journey was fraught with challenges from the very beginning. As they left the comfort of their village, strange storms began to roll across the sky, their clouds dark and heavy with an unnatural energy. The air crackled, and the golden satchel containing the egg seemed to vibrate as if sensing the danger. On the second night of their travels, they camped near a rocky outcrop. Aurea perched nearby, her golden feathers glowing faintly in the dark. She warned them of what lay ahead. "The egg holds immense power, and there are those who would use it for destruction," she said. "You must guard it with your lives. But remember, its destiny is tied to yours. Only with courage and unity will you succeed." The following morning, their path led them to the Whispering Woods, a forest known for its shifting trails and illusions. The trees seemed alive, their branches moving as though they were watching the pair. As they ventured deeper, they began hearing voices, faint whispers that called out to them by name. "Samuel." "Ben." Samuel shuddered. "It's just the wind, right?" Ben gripped his staff tightly. "Stay close. Don't trust what you see or hear." But the whispers grew louder, and soon, shadowy figures emerged from the mist. They were cloaked in black, their faces hidden, but their intentions were clear. "The egg belongs to us," one of them hissed, its voice chilling and hollow. Ben stepped forward, his resolve unwavering. "Over my dead body." The shadows surged forward, but Aurea intervened, unleashing a brilliant burst of golden light. The figures recoiled, screeching as they dissolved into the mist. However, their retreat felt like a warning rather than a victory. After escaping the forest, Ben and Samuel reached the base of the Crystal Peaks, a range of jagged mountains that shimmered like glass under the sunlight. The Valley of Light lay beyond these treacherous peaks, but scaling them was no easy task. Halfway up, a sudden avalanche nearly ended their journey. Rocks and ice thundered down, separating Samuel from Ben. The golden satchel tumbled from Ben's grasp, sliding dangerously close to the edge of a cliff. "Samuel, the egg!" Ben shouted, scrambling after it. Samuel leaped forward, grabbing the satchel just in time. But as he did, the egg began to glow fiercely, pulsing with energy. The avalanche stopped abruptly, as if time itself had paused. From the egg, a voice different from Aurea's spoke. It was deep and commanding, filled with an ancient wisdom. "You have proven your courage, but the true test lies ahead. Only those with pure hearts can deliver me to my destiny." The egg's glow dimmed, and time resumed, leaving Ben and Samuel shaken but determined. As they reached the summit, the Valley of Light came into view, a breathtaking expanse of golden fields, crystal-clear rivers, and creatures that shimmered like starlight. It was as if they had stepped into another world. But before they could descend, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a man cloaked in dark robes, his eyes burning with an unnatural red glow. "I've waited long enough," he sneered, extending a hand toward the egg. "That power belongs to me." Aurea stepped between them, her wings spreading wide. "You will not harm them," she declared, her voice ringing like thunder. The man laughed. "We'll see about that." The air grew heavy with tension as a battle seemed inevitable. Ben and Samuel braced themselves, knowing that their greatest trial was upon them. The cloaked man raised his hand, and the ground trembled as dark energy swirled around him. Shadows slithered like living creatures, reaching toward Ben, Samuel, and Aurea. The egg in the satchel pulsed wildly, as if reacting to the looming threat. "Hand it over, and I might let you leave alive," the man snarled. Ben tightened his grip on his staff, stepping in front of Samuel. "You'll have to go through me first." Aurea's golden feathers began to glow brighter, and she spread her wings, unleashing a wave of light that pushed the shadows back. But the man was powerful, and the darkness pushed forward again, clashing with Aurea's light in a blinding explosion. "Samuel, take the egg and go," Aurea cried. "But..." "Go." Reluctantly, Samuel clutched the satchel and began to run toward the valley. Ben stayed behind, fighting alongside Aurea. The old farmer, though no warrior, swung his staff with determination, his love for his family and the egg giving him strength. As Samuel descended the rocky slope, the egg began to glow fiercely once again, and he heard a voice, soft but urgent, inside his mind. "Do not fear. I will guide you." The path seemed to illuminate itself before him, leading him safely through the treacherous terrain. Behind him, the battle raged on. Samuel's heart ached for his father and Aurea, but he knew the egg's safety was paramount. When he reached the edge of the Valley of Light, a massive golden gate materialized before him, guarded by two radiant beings. They were tall and ethereal, with wings that shimmered like sunlight on water. "Who seeks to enter the Valley of Light?" one of them asked, their voice echoing with power. Samuel held up the glowing egg. "I've come to deliver this. It's what Aurea told us to do." The beings exchanged a glance, their expressions unreadable. "The egg holds the future of the world, but its power must be awakened here. Step forward, and be judged." Samuel hesitated but then stepped through the gate. As he did, the egg began to hover, rising out of the satchel. It floated to the center of the valley, where a massive golden tree stood. The tree's roots glowed faintly, and as the egg reached its branches, a beam of light shot from the heavens, enveloping it. The light was blinding, and Samuel shielded his eyes. When it faded, the egg was gone, and in its place stood a creature unlike any he'd imagined. It was larger than Aurea, with wings that seemed to span the entire valley. Its feathers shimmered with every color of the spectrum, and its eyes radiated wisdom and kindness. "I am Solara," the creature said, her voice resonating like music. "The cycle is complete. You and your father have protected the world's hope. Now, I will restore balance." Before Samuel could respond, Solara spread her wings and soared into the sky, sending ripples of light across the land. The shadows that had been advancing on the valley dissolved, and Samuel felt a sense of peace he'd never known. At that moment, Aurea appeared, her feathers singed but her spirit unbroken. Beside her was Ben, leaning on his staff but alive and smiling. "You did it, son," Ben said, his voice full of pride. Samuel ran to them, embracing his father and Aurea. "It wasn't just me. We all did." As they stood together, the Valley of Light seemed to hum with life, its beauty unmatched. Solara's presence was everywhere, a reminder that light and hope would always prevail, even in the darkest of times. Their journey had come to an end, but their bond, strengthened by courage, sacrifice, and love, would endure forever. Months had passed since Solara had risen to the skies, her light restoring balance to the land. The Valley of Light remained a sanctuary, its beauty unmatched, and life in Ben's village slowly returned to normal. Yet, something lingered in the back of Samuel's mind, a feeling that their journey was not entirely over. One evening, as Ben and Samuel sat by the fire in their rebuilt farmhouse, Aurea perched silently on the windowsill, her gaze fixed on the horizon. Samuel noticed her feathers were dimmer than usual, as though she was carrying a heavy burden. "What's wrong, Aurea?" Samuel asked. The phoenix turned her glowing eyes toward him. "The balance has been restored, but not permanently. The forces of darkness have retreated, but they are not defeated. They will rise again, stronger and more cunning. Solara's light is powerful, but she cannot face this alone." Ben furrowed his brow. "Are you saying there's another task ahead of us?" Aurea nodded. The golden egg was just the beginning. Across the lands, there are other relics, artifacts hidden by ancient guardians that hold the key to maintaining harmony. Together, they can strengthen Solara's light and ensure the darkness is kept at bay. Samuel leaned forward. "Where do we find them?" Aurea's feathers glowed faintly as an image appeared in the air, a map, etched in golden light. The map depicted distant lands, treacherous seas, and forgotten ruins. For symbols glimmered in key locations: a ruby flame, an emerald leaf, a sapphire wave, and an onyx stone. These are the 4 relics of balance, Aurea explained. Each one is hidden in a different region, guarded by trials that test the heart, mind, and spirit. The journey will be far more dangerous than the one you've already faced. Ben sighed, rubbing his tired hands together. I'm not as young as I used to be, but if this is what's needed to protect our home, I'll do it. Samuel smiled at his father, determination in his eyes. We'll do it together. We've come this far, and I'm not stopping now. Aurea tilted her head. You will not be alone. Solara's light will guide you, and I will remain by your side. But you must prepare yourselves. The first relic lies in the Ember Peaks, A. The map faded, and the room fell silent, save for the crackling of the fire. Ben and Samuel exchanged a glance, both knowing that this new journey would test them in ways they couldn't imagine. As dawn broke the next day, they packed their supplies, readying themselves for the unknown. Aurea flew ahead, her golden feathers lighting the path as they set out once more. The road to the Ember Peaks was long and perilous, but the father and son knew one thing for certain: together, they could face anything. The journey to the Ember Peaks was unlike anything Ben and Samuel had experienced. The air grew hotter with each step, the earth beneath them cracked and charred, and rivers of molten lava carved fiery paths through the jagged terrain. The peaks loomed in the distance, their summits glowing red against a smoky sky. Aurea flew ahead, her wings shimmering faintly as the heat seemed to sap even her strength. The relic of flame rests deep within the heart of the mountain, she said, her voice carrying a note of caution. But the Ember Peaks are guarded by the Scorchkin, a fierce and ancient race of fire spirits. They will not give up the relic easily. Ben wiped the sweat from his brow. Fire spirits, huh? Let me guess, they don't take kindly to visitors. Samuel chuckled nervously. Doesn't sound like they're going to invite us in for tea, that's for sure. As they approached the base of the peaks, they came across a massive stone gate, its surface etched with glowing runes. Aurea landed gracefully and tilted her head toward the gate. The first trial lies beyond this door. It will test your resolve and your connection to one another. Be prepared. The runes pulsed as Samuel reached out to touch the gate. The ground rumbled, and the door slowly creaked open, revealing a cavern filled with flames that danced like living creatures. As they stepped inside, the temperature rose sharply, and the air became difficult to breathe. Without warning, the flames coalesced into the form of a towering fire spirit. Its molten body crackled and hissed, and its glowing eyes regarded them with a mix of curiosity and disdain. Who dares enter the Ember Peaks seeking the relic of flame? The spirit bellowed, its voice reverberating through the cavern. Ben stepped forward, gripping his staff tightly. We are here to restore balance and protect our world from the darkness. The fire spirit let out a low, rumbling laugh. Balance? Do you understand what you ask? The relic of flame is not a gift, it is a trial. To earn it, you must prove your worth. If you fail, the flames will consume you. Samuel swallowed hard but nodded. We're ready. The spirit raised an arm, and the cavern shifted around them. Suddenly, they were surrounded by a labyrinth of fire, the paths twisting and turning with no clear direction. The flames roared higher, and the heat became almost unbearable. This trial will test your bond, the fire spirit's voice echoed. Only those who trust each other completely can find the way. As they navigated the fiery maze, the flames seemed to taunt them, whispering doubts and fears. You're too old for this, Ben, a voice hissed in the fire. You'll only slow him down. Samuel heard another whisper. You'll fail, just like before. You're not strong enough. Ben stopped and placed a hand on his son's shoulder. Ignore the voices, Samuel. They're trying to break us. Samuel nodded, though his hands trembled. I trust you, Dad. Let's keep moving. Together, they pressed on, relying on each other's instincts to navigate the twisting paths. When Samuel hesitated, Ben encouraged him. When Ben faltered, Samuel lent him his strength. Slowly but surely, they reached the center of the maze, where a massive pedestal stood. Upon the pedestal rested the relic of flame, a brilliant ruby shaped like a roaring fire. As they approached, the fire spirit reappeared, towering above them. "You have proven yourselves worthy," it said, its voice softer now. "Your bond is strong, and your courage unwavering. Take the relic, but know this, each trial will only grow more difficult." Ben reached out and grasped the relic. It was warm to the touch, and as he held it, a surge of energy coursed through him. The ruby pulsed with power, its light filling the cavern. The fire spirit stepped aside, the flames of the labyrinth parting to reveal a clear path out of the peaks. "Go now, and may the light of the relic guide you." As they emerged from the mountain, Aurea flew to their side, her feathers glowing brighter than before. "You've done well," she said. "But this is just the beginning. 3 relics remain, and the darkness will not wait idly." Ben and Samuel exchanged a glance, both knowing the road ahead would be long and perilous. But with the relic of flame in their possession, they felt a renewed sense of hope. Their journey was far from over. The winds of change blew fierce as Ben, Samuel, and Aurea traveled onward, the relic of flame securely packed in Samuel's satchel. The heat of the ember peaks still clung to their clothes, and their skin burned with the memory of the flames, but they pressed forward. The path to the next relic, the emerald leaf, led them to the distant forest of eternity, a place where time itself was said to bend. "This next trial will be unlike the first," Aurea warned, her golden feathers glowing with anticipation. "The forest of eternity is alive, its trees have seen the birth of the world and the end of time. But its beauty hides a dangerous truth. Many who enter are lost forever, their minds twisted by the forest's illusions." Ben gripped his staff tighter. "So we'll need our wits about us." "Exactly," Aurea replied. "The emerald leaf is hidden deep within the forest. But you must find it without losing yourselves. Time here does not flow as it does outside. A moment may last years, or an hour may feel like a lifetime. Trust each other, and don't let the forest divide you." As they entered the forest, the air grew thick with mist. The trees towered above them, their trunks wide and ancient, their leaves shimmering with an ethereal glow. Strange sounds echoed from the shadows, whispers, footsteps, the rustle of leaves, and though the forest was beautiful, it was unnerving. Soon, the path before them began to change. The trees seemed to shift, and the trail they had been following vanished. Ben and Samuel looked around, but the once familiar landmarks had all disappeared. "This isn't right," Samuel said, his voice trembling. "Where did the path go?" Ben's heart raced. "Stay close. We're not alone in here." Suddenly, the trees parted, revealing a clearing bathed in soft golden light. In the center stood an enormous tree, its branches reaching toward the sky. At its base was the emerald leaf, glowing brightly like a beacon. But as they stepped toward it, the ground beneath their feet shifted, and the clearing began to distort. "Welcome, travelers," a voice boomed, echoing from all directions. From the shadows, a figure stepped forward, a woman, tall and draped in green robes. Her eyes gleamed with the same strange light as the forest, and her smile was both welcoming and unsettling. "I am Sylvana, the guardian of time," she said, her voice sweet yet full of warning. "You seek the emerald leaf, but to claim it, you must prove your worth. But know this, you are not just seeking a relic. You are seeking yourselves." Before they could respond, the forest around them shifted once more. The ground beneath their feet became soft and spongy, as if they were walking on clouds. Ben and Samuel found. Samuel stood alone in front of a much younger version of himself, an image from his childhood, when he had once doubted his abilities and feared the unknown. His younger self stared at him with wide eyes, unsure. "Why are you afraid?" the younger Samuel asked. "Why don't you trust yourself?" Samuel swallowed, feeling the weight of those old insecurities rise up. "I've changed," he whispered. "I've learned. I trust myself now." As he spoke the words, the younger version of himself faded away, and the fog of doubt lifted. Meanwhile, Ben faced an older image of himself, one full of regret and sorrow. The older version of Ben stood with his back turned, staring at a field that had long been abandoned. "You didn't protect them, did you?" the older Ben asked. "You failed, just like you always feared." Ben's heart ached as he saw the pain in his older self's eyes. "I've done the best I could. I've never stopped trying." With that declaration, the image of his older self vanished, and the weight of his past lifted. The mist faded, and Ben and Samuel found themselves back in the clearing. Sylvana stood before them, a look of approval on her face. "You have both faced your pasts and emerged stronger. You've proven that you are worthy of the emerald leaf," Sylvana said, extending her hand. The leaf in the tree's roots rose and floated toward them, glowing brighter with each second. Ben took the leaf gently, feeling its cool energy flow through his hands. "Thank you." Sylvana nodded. "Take it and go, but remember, time is a fleeting thing. Use it wisely." With the emerald leaf in their possession, Ben, Samuel, and Aurea began their journey out of the forest. The path they had once lost had now reappeared, leading them out into the world beyond the trees. But as they emerged from the forest of eternity, they felt a sense of unease. The trials had grown harder, and they knew that the next relic, the sapphire wave, would be their most dangerous challenge yet. The darkness was drawing closer, and with each passing day, the stakes grew higher. Their journey was far from over, but they were ready. The Farmer and the Golden Egg, Part 8, the final trial. The night sky was heavy with the weight of the journey ahead as Ben, Samuel, and Aurea prepared for the final leg of their quest. With the emerald leaf and relic of flame safely secured, they knew that the next relic, the sapphire wave, awaited them across the vast and treacherous seas. The sapphire relic was said to lie beneath the deepest ocean trench, where few had dared venture, and fewer had returned. The sapphire wave lies beyond the storm's edge, a place where the waters are restless and the skies are ever shrouded in tempest, Aurea warned as they stood on the shores of the Great Sea. To claim the relic, you must face not only the ocean's fury but the trial of your spirit. The sea holds many secrets, and its depths are guarded by the spirits of the lost. Ben looked out at the churning waters, his heart heavy with the weight of the task ahead. "We've made it this far. We can't stop now." Samuel nodded. "We've come too far to fail." Aurea gave a somber nod before taking flight, soaring high into the sky to guide them. The waves crashed against the rocks as Ben and Samuel boarded a sturdy boat. Together, they sailed into the heart of the storm, the winds howling and the sea growing wilder with every passing hour. The storm's edge was upon them, dark clouds twisted and churned overhead, casting shadows over the turbulent waters below. Lightning struck in jagged arcs, and the rain fell in sheets, lashing against their faces. But they pressed on, determined to face whatever lay ahead. As they sailed deeper into the storm, the waters suddenly stilled, and the clouds parted to reveal a serene and eerie calm. Ahead, the ocean floor seemed to rise, and a dark shadow loomed beneath the surface. The sapphire wave, hidden beneath the waves, awaited them. "It's there," Samuel whispered, his voice filled with awe. The boat came to a halt as an enormous whirlpool began to form around them, pulling them toward the depths. The sea seemed alive with a power unlike anything they had ever felt. The sapphire light from the relic beneath the waters beckoned, glowing brighter as they were drawn closer. A voice echoed from the depths, both haunting and beautiful. "You seek the sapphire wave, but the sea will test your hearts. Will you conquer its depths, or be consumed by the abyss?" Before they could respond, the waters around them rose like a tidal wave, and from the depths emerged an enormous sea serpent, its scales shimmering like sapphire and its eyes glowing with the same light as the relic. Its voice was deep and ancient, reverberating through the very air. "Only those who prove their worth can claim the sapphire wave," the serpent boomed. "You must face the trial of the heart, where you must choose what you are willing to sacrifice for the greater good." Ben and Samuel exchanged uneasy glances, both sensing the gravity of the moment. The serpent's gaze bore into them, its eyes unblinking. The trial began. The waves around them rose, crashing and splitting as visions from their pasts appeared in the water. They saw loved ones in danger, their homes destroyed, and the lives of those they cared for slipping away. The visions were not just illusions but a reflection of the sacrifices they had made and the choices they would face in the future. Samuel's heart raced as he saw the image of his mother, long lost, standing on the shore, reaching out to him. "Come to me, Samuel," the vision called. "Leave the quest behind. Live a peaceful life. You can have everything you've ever wanted. No more pain. No more loss." Samuel felt his resolve falter, the pull of his past aching deep in his chest. But then he thought of his father, of the battles they had faced together, and the world they were trying to protect. "No," he said firmly, his voice steady. "I won't leave this journey. I won't abandon what's at stake." Ben, too, faced his own trial. He saw the vision of his younger self again, standing by the farm, calling for help as a shadow fell over their home. "Give up the quest, old man. Go back to the farm. There is no shame in retreat. Leave the world to its fate." The temptation was great, but Ben knew the price of abandoning the quest. He'd come too far to turn back. "I won't give up," he whispered, his voice firm with conviction. "The world needs us. We finish what we started." The serpent's eyes gleamed as it watched them, and the ocean roared in approval. The waves parted, and the sapphire wave, glowing with radiant light, emerged from the depths, floating before them like a star. "You have passed the trial," the serpent rumbled, its voice filled with respect. "You have proven your hearts are true, and your spirits strong. Take the sapphire wave." Ben extended his hand, and as he touched the glowing relic, a surge of power rushed through him. The waters around them calmed, and the storm disappeared as quickly as it had come. With the final relic now in their possession, Ben and Samuel sailed back to the shore, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of what lay ahead. Solara, the phoenix, awaited them, ready to fulfill the prophecy and restore the balance once and for all. But they also knew that the darkness was not finished. The forces of shadow, though pushed back, would always be lurking, waiting for their moment to rise again. Their journey had come to an end, but the true battle for the future of the world was only just beginning. The farmer and the golden egg, final chapter, the light restored. With the sapphire wave now in their possession, Ben and Samuel returned to the heart of the valley, where the golden light of Solara awaited them. The journey had been long and arduous, testing their resolve, their courage, and their bond as father and son. But they were not the same as when they began. Each trial had made them stronger, their hearts bound together in ways that no darkness could tear apart. As they reached the center of the valley, Aurea descended from the sky, her golden feathers shining like a beacon. Solara, the great phoenix, stood before them, her wings spread wide, the flame of her heart burning brightly. "You have done it," Solara said, her voice filled with warmth and pride. "You have gathered the relics of balance. You have restored hope where there was none, and now, the world shall be made whole once more." Ben looked to Samuel, his eyes full of emotion. "We couldn't have done it without each other." Samuel nodded, his gaze steady. "We did this together. All of us." Aurea gave a soft caw of approval, her eyes shining with pride. "The darkness is not gone forever, but it is no longer the looming threat it once was. Your world will flourish once again, as it was always meant to." The ground beneath them trembled, and the light of the relics flared brightly as Solara raised her wings high. A wave of golden energy surged through the valley, washing over the land, healing it, rejuvenating the very earth. The crops began to grow again, the rivers flowed with crystal-clear water, and the sky turned a brilliant blue, free from the clouds that had once shrouded it. Solara's flame grew brighter still, and the power of the relics of balance combined to create a radiant pulse that spread far and wide, restoring harmony to the world. But then, as the light of the phoenix began to dim, Solara spoke one final time. "Your world will now thrive, as long as you remember the lessons you have learned. Balance cannot exist without both light and darkness. The greatest strength lies in your unity." As she spoke, her form began to glow brighter, her flame growing fiercer, until with a mighty burst of light, she ascended into the sky, leaving behind only a trail of golden embers that drifted to the ground. The valley was forever changed, filled with life and warmth. Ben and Samuel stood together in the now peaceful valley, watching the world around them come alive again. The challenges they had faced seemed like distant memories, but the bond they shared had been forever forged in the fires of their trials. "You did it," Samuel said, his voice full of wonder. "We did," Ben replied, his heart swelling with pride. "We'll keep doing it. For this world, for everyone we love." And so, with the balance restored and their home safe, Ben and Samuel returned to the farm, where they had once begun. The fields bloomed once more, and the village prospered, as the light of Solara's flame lived on in every heart. The father and son knew that while their journey was over, their purpose would never fade. For they had become more than just protectors, they had become the keepers of balance, the guardians of light and dark, and the hope of a world that would forever remember the courage of a farmer and his son. The end.